Good night, everybody. What's up, morning? I gotta, when you watch Dragon Ball Z, right? Like, no joke. The person who get through, like, if we decide to say, in Dragon Ball Z, let's see who get through the period.
Are you okay, Navia?
Right?
I'm fine. Don't worry. Let's investigate the 3 suspects next. Laurent should be nearby, and we should be able to find Thierry and Uncle Marcel in the city. I'll get myself together on the way, so please don't worry.
So he got redeemed. Your wife, the kid and all that. Creighton got redeemed. He married the strongest woman who was under 18 and had a wife and gave her and she left him for him. Master Roshi.
Greetings, boss. How may I be of assistance today?
Still living. So he ain't even know what's that like. You see what I'm saying?
I'm sure you've heard about what happened at the Opera House. Someone got turned into water right in front of us.
Yeah, I've heard. With something that dramatic, I'm sure journalists will milk it for all it's worth. And it'll be all the talk for the next several weeks.
It also reminded me, on the day that the incident happened with my father, it was raining outside, and we found some clothes left at the scene. After my partner here put the dots together for me, I feel like we should try to reopen his case. Can you do me a favor and try to recall what happened that night?
Let me think. Mr. Callis was feeling pretty upbeat that day. So he was drinking and bantering away with us at the table. After that, he told us that he wanted to go get some fresh air. So we let him go without thinking much of it. Who knew that we would hear 2 gunshots ring out right after? My first reaction was that Mr. Callis's life was in danger. So I grabbed my holster and made a mad dash toward the scene. But when I got there, it was already too late. Mr. Callis was standing over a dead body with a gun in his hands. All we could do was look back and forth at each other, not knowing what to say.
So you also remember 2 gunshots then?
Indeed. The guard said that the first shot didn't hit anyone, while the second killed Jacques. But I've never really bought that explanation. Reason being, Mr. Callis had left his gun on the table. I even made sure to confirm that before running to the scene. But according to the guards, that doesn't mean he couldn't have had other guns on his person. About the clothes left at the scene that you mentioned, do you think there was a 3rd person there who was turned into water?
When he was on Namek.
At least from our perspective, my father had no reason to kill. So he would also have no reason to bring an extra gun with him. The gun he was holding probably belonged to Jacques, or a 3rd person on the scene.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So you're saying Mr. Callis ended up with the gun because he seized it from one of the other guys?
Then he got killed again on planet Namek.
But hold on. If that's what had happened, then why didn't he share the truth with any of us? He didn't even want to face the Oratrice machine, and chose instead to prove his honor in a duel. Did he lose all faith in the courts after seeing someone dissolve right in front of his eyes?
About that, Luce told me a thing or two. So, I think I can understand why he committed to the duel. I'll tell you everything once the whole truth has been revealed.
But you might as well say I should have left him.
I understand. Then I'll leave Mr. Callis's honor in your hands, boss. And if I may just say one more thing, the whole Callis the Unfaithful epithet has been a thorn in my side since the day it was invented. Many people have laughed at me for still calling him Mr. Callis, even after so many years have passed. But it was Mr. Callis's trust that allowed me to rise through the ranks of Spina di Rosula and live the life I lead today. No matter what others might say, he'll always be the man I respect the most. And he'll always be my boss.
Don't worry. I will definitely find the truth. You and all our other comrades at the Spina deserve to know the truth as well.
Because Goku with Dragon Ball. Like legit, he was abandoned at first, but he turned to a good guy. Vegeta, From a bad guy to a good guy. From a bad guy to a good guy. Making Kami. You see what they're saying? So it's like, why they do him like that? That's the question. That's what I want to know. Like, why they do Yamcha so dirty? That's the question. Even if Yamcha's like, you look at it and Yamcha's like, you know what? I don't even want to be on this dimension anymore. And he goes to another dimension, like, because it's 9 universes. He decided to go to one of the universes and end up becoming stronger. Because he's in that universe and then becoming way stronger. Then they see him again. Be like, Yamcha? Yeah, what's up? I have a whole new beautiful wife who would actually like him for who he is and have money too. A whole solid team. You see what they see? They can do that. No, they do Yamcha dirty. Why they do him dirty like that? I don't know. I have no idea why. I think he didn't like the character Yamcha though. Difficulty is just like, yeah. I think you need a teammate for this difficulty. But that. It's overdoing it. No, they overdoing it for real.
As a good knight should. Out of the frying pan, into the fire. stone unturned.
Get frostbite. Cool it.
Someone needs assistance. Nice and spicy. Leave it all to me.
Bro. Yeah, I mean, y'all overdoing it for real.
Hey, Thierry,
Alright.
it's me.
I don't know why they do this.
Oh, now, what brings you here, Miss Navia? I've heard that you made quite the name for yourself at the Opera House.
Oh, so you've caught news of that already.
Oh, okay. Hey, I'm also a member of the Guards, you know. The way you make it sound, people would think I was sent off to Poisson because I had done something wrong.
Are you sure there isn't a little bit of truth in that? Under normal circumstances, shouldn't you have been called back to the city already?
I mean, where I work is really up to me. Let's just say I enjoy the ambiance of Poisson. Callis did a fantastic job running the town, building Spina di Rosula from the ground up and clearing many obstructions in my way. It would be next to impossible for me to find a similarly easy but high-paying job in the city. Anyway, enough chit-chat. Are these two friends of yours? You, here for some formal business?
Yes. These two are my partners. What happened at the Opera House made us realize that Linny's case and my father's may be related. We're trying to reinvestigate the details of my father's old case.
Ah, I get it. You think there might be more to the case now that we know people can be dissolved into water, right? I was also flabbergasted when I first heard of it. If you want to go through the original files from your father's case, I can help you look for them.
That'd be much appreciated. Thank you. Actually, I have another question. Do you have the authority to dispatch Gardamex?
Of course. Without them, I couldn't possibly handle Poisson on my own. Why do you ask? We definitely can't use them to forcefully get more evidence for your father's case.
Well, you see, just recently, we were attacked by a horde of unnumbered Gardamex in the city. So, if you hypothetically wanted to do something against me, all you would need to do is get rid of the mecha serial numbers and send them after me.
Then you think too highly of my abilities. Dispatching mecha is very different from controlling them. If I had to make an analogy, when you order a dish, the chef will make it for you. You can ask the chef to cook, but not to massage your shoulders or carry your baggage. If you try to make unreasonable demands, the chef would just think you're out of your mind and ignore you completely. The same goes for me and my Gardamex. Removing a serial number is also not as easy as you might think. There are a lot of complex steps to it, and it's almost impossible to keep it a secret. So I can promise you, those mecha were definitely private units. They're certainly not cheap. So, whoever their owner is must be super rich, powerful, or both. Now that you mention it, though, being in the synth business would definitely be profitable enough to afford this.
Oh, then you're officially in the clear, Thierry.
Oh, thank you for the vote of confidence, Navia. Jokes aside, I'd like to wish you all the best with your investigation. I'll be staying in the city for a little while, so just come find me if you need any support from the guards.
Hello. How may I help you?
I'm here to see Marcel. Could you please let him know? You can just say Navia's looking for him.
Sure. I will let him know right away.
Navia, hello. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm not as young as I used to be, so my legs are giving out a bit.
Oh, it's all right, Uncle Marcel. There's no need to stress. I just wanted to talk to you briefly about what happened in the Opera House. I'm sure you saw everything too, right?
Yes, I've never seen anything so strange.
Oh, you were at the Opera House too?
That's right. I went there with Navia to see the magic show. Who knew it would turn into a whole murder mystery? I also witnessed your marvelous sleuthing work. Quite impressive. To beat the Hydro Archon at her own game on her own turf, I can already imagine everyone in Fontaine discussing your exploits over a few glasses of wine.
Oh, Paimon doesn't want to become the talk of drunkards.
Apologies. It's just how Fontaine is as a nation. Everyone loves drama and theatrics.
Uncle Marcel, you've also noticed that other thing, right? The fact that humans can dissolve in water?
Yes, I was reminded of your father's case right away. Is that what you're investigating now?
Exactly. I still don't have much solid proof, but I can sense that the other side has already begun to act.
Oh, and what makes you say that?
We were attacked on Araneus by some unnumbered Gardamex. And there was also an attempt to get me to drink water from the primordial sea. If not for the vigilance of my partner, I probably wouldn't even be here talking to you right now.
Oh, you're giving us too much credit. Wasn't it you who protected us?
Alas, it seems things are heating up again. The peace that Callus sought so dearly will soon become a thing of the past. But rest assured, Navia, Poisson will always remain a safe haven for you. If you're scared, you can always return there. If anyone dares to lay their hands on you there, the Confrérie of Cabrières will use its funds to the last Mora to bring them to justice.
Thank you, Uncle Marcel. But I don't intend to go into hiding. I'm going to strike while the iron's hot. Do you have any new thoughts on my father's case?
About that. Sorry, my age is catching up with me, so it'll take me a while to recall my memory. The Confrérie was responsible for that banquet, so I was out and about the whole time making sure things were running smoothly. I didn't even have the time to drink with the guests. Then I heard the sound of a gunshot, and the rest was history.
Oh, it's okay. No need to push yourself. We'll ask around some more. See if there are any valuable clues elsewhere.
Sounds good. Just let me know if you ever need Mora. All my wealth comes from Callus's patronage and support. I'll spend however much it takes to clear his name.
Like, okay, I didn't go on to work today because of my stomach. That's Tuesday. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. They going to work tonight. I mean today. No go off tonight. Then it'll be Thursday. Same time Thursday. And Friday. Same time Friday. 3 days. I'm home. Saturday off. Then Sunday. So you see how that works. What? Oh, heck no. No, for true though. That's like, when you working and all that, you gotta put your money aside. Make sure you okay, you don't squander it. Buy the things you need, not what you want. Alright? Spend your money on the things that you need and put the rest of your money up so you can be able to buy what you want. But while you stocking, don't spend the money what you want. Don't spend the money what you need on things that you want, but then actually can benefit you. That make no sense. So
this moment will be frozen in time. Dodge this! Freeze!
turn.
Oh, so sorry. Freeze.
I'm the bright man. It's the fire.
Over here. Let me amuse myself a little. Blink! The more, the merrier the systems shine.
That's petty. That's a word.
Let's finish this, swiftly.
Truth.
I want to help.
The end is nigh.
Let's go.
The gift of grace.
Ready when you are.
Cool it.
Don't get frostbite.
Grace be upon you.
I want to help.
The world will burn.
Animal hypostasis emulation.
The truth shall endure. The truth shall set you free.
Type of cheating ass is this?
The door is opened unto you. truth shall endure. The world will burn.
Yes. How to play that smart? That this dude just freaking never.
We've talked to all three suspects, purely based on their conversations with me.
None of them sounded particularly suspicious.
I suppose that's to be expected, though. If a single conversation's all that's needed to find them out, then my father wouldn't have needed to investigate the case for so many years. Anyway, even though we didn't make a breakthrough, let's still compile what we were able to find.
But where should we start? Ah, you're right! Flora mentioned that Callus probably only ended up with the gun because of circumstance. That makes sense.
According to Jacques' family members, he already told them that he had been discovered, and that he had no choice before he left home that day. If I had to guess, he probably received an order from the synth boss to kill my father. Had he refused, he and his family's lives would have been forfeit.
So, Jacques fired the first shot?
Oh? And why is that?
Ooh, that's a good point. Jacques probably already knew that he was just being used as a tool for murder. And once he had completed his mission, he'd be of no more use to his boss.
Huh. So, what would make more sense from his perspective would be to turn his back on the Order and seek protection from my father. Makes sense. But without evidence, that's still just a theory. Besides Jacques, the attack from the Gardamex has been bothering me quite a bit as well. It's obvious that our enemy has become more antsy after the secret of the primordial seawater was revealed.
Do you think he knew, even then, that we'd follow this lead to the end?
Given everything that's happened since, it's quite possible. But who among the 3 suspects would have the ability to control privately owned Gardamex? Uncle Marcel? My father did really trust him. And they worked together on a large number of projects. Maybe that's how he got to know Jacques. And with funds from the Confrérie, he could also afford a large number of Gardamex. It's still really hard for me to imagine, though. After all, Uncle Marcel has been around since I was just a child. Also, wouldn't this mean he has been spending a whole lot of mora and energy to fight his own synth business? Thierry, you say? Huh. It is possible that he's figured out a way to convert the Gardamex for personal use. But I didn't feel like he was lying when he was talking to us about the mecha. I also don't think he'd be able to keep that kind of tampering under wraps.
Yeah, had he actually tampered with the mecha, we'd be able to prove it with a simple check of the guard's inventory. If the mecha were taken from the guards, it should be pretty easy to find out when and how that happened.
Florent? It is true that he was closest to my father, and thus had the best chance of learning about his dealings with Jacques. But as Spina di Rosula's advisor, his work mostly deals with personnel and security, so he shouldn't have much means when it comes to finances.
So you're saying he's too broke to afford a mecha army?
Exactly. He can't. And even if he could, I don't think he would be able to dispatch a whole group so quickly. Who could it be? You know, if you think everything through, Uncle Marcel is indeed the most suspicious of them all.
Could we be missing other suspects? Malus didn't know about the people turning into water thing when he narrowed it down to these 3, did he?
Malus has always been very reliable, and his judgment of others' trustworthiness has been fair and well considered. When he laid out his case for the 3, the rationale he gave me made a lot of sense as well. The suspect is knowledgeable about the Spina's internal affairs, has the means to dispatch Mecha to assassinate us, and possesses significant intellect and foresight. Even if I don't want to believe it, I'm starting to see how things could all tie back to Uncle Marcel.
Well, we still have another trump card on top of all the theorizing and speculating.
Yes. Malus did say that charging straight in there would be extremely risky, but we don't have any other options right now. We need far more solid proof before we can hope to go charging in on our enemy.
Navia, here you are. Oh, I've been looking for you.
Huh? Aren't you the guy from the guards? Did something happen?
Yeah. News came from Irenaeus just after you left. We've got another trial on our hands.
Wasn't that place built specifically for holding trials? What's so newsworthy about this one?
I know. But they said the person they're putting on trial is a Fatui harbinger called Tartaglia.
What? Is that someone you know?
Yeah, we know him. Maybe even a little too well.
Well, he's been accused of being the true culprit behind the serial disappearances case. It's absurd, don't you think?
Wait, how? None of our investigations have had anything to do with him.
That's what I thought was strange about it, so I came to tell you the news right away. If the charge against him stands, then it'll be next to impossible to get the guards to support any of our planned investigations.
Right, because they'll think they've already found the culprit.
Yeah, and it'll be a lot harder then to clear Mr. Callus's name.
I understand. Well, partner, what do you think we should do? Huh? Split up? What do you mean? Just as expected of my partner. Since this is a trial about the serial disappearances case, the culprit's attention will be focused on Irenaeus, leaving his home base wide open. You're right. This is our best opportunity. All right then, let's do this. I'll stall them at the Opera House and charge Marcel as the true culprit. I won't have any chance of making that charge stick, though, unless we find more evidence. It'll be up to you to make it back in time and hand the decisive evidence to me.
We'll help you.
Demoiselle, please allow us to accompany you.
I'm ready.
Ah, Malou, Silver. When did you two get here?
We heard that you'll be leaving Poisson and figured that you might require our assistance. It's our hope that your confidence will be bolstered with the two of us by your side.
Thank you so much. Then, let's make haste for Irenaeus. Paimon, Traveler, I'll see you at the Opera House.
See you then! Malusa's info, the synth production base is underwater. Let's go and try to find the entrance. So this is the entrance that leads to the synth production base. It sure doesn't seem out of the ordinary at all. Ah, you're right. An important place like this is bound to have a ton of protective measures and mechanisms. Navia's probably arguing up a storm right now to stall for us.
Wow.
It would appear that I must repeat my question again, Mr. Tartaglia. Do you accept the charge that you are the true culprit behind the serial disappearances case?
To be perfectly honest, I don't understand your country's complicated court system, or the reason why I'm being charged with something I've never even heard of. However, I did hear that people who have been charged can choose to participate in a duel to clear their name. Is that right? In which case, as long as I accept the charge, I can have an all-out fight with that champion duelist Clorent, right? I've got to admit, that's one of the most enticing offers I've ever received. When I privately sparred with her last time, she was obviously holding back. Real disappointing.
Hey! Don't you understand? You're currently the prime suspect for a major case. This isn't the place for you to be looking for fights.
Oh? Sounds like the Hydro Archon wants to lecture me on the ways of the Opera House. Then why don't you duel me too? I'm the kind of student that learns best in the heat of battle.
No. That's not what I meant.
Alas, it would appear that communication with the defendant is going poorly, and we have made very little progress. In that case, let me explain everything from the very beginning again. The goal of this trial is to determine the culprit behind the serial disappearances case.
That case had nothing to do with him. You've got the wrong man. Huh? What's going on? Why is she interjecting again?
I told you it couldn't be one of the Fatui Harbingers.
Miss Navia, this is the second time you've interrupted the court proceedings. I only tolerated your behavior last time because you were able to provide the court with a key eyewitness. But that was an exception rather than standard court protocol. I can very well charge you with contempt of court for your interjections.
Oh, please. Did you ever think I had any respect for this place's pointless theatrics? We can put that discussion aside for now. I'm not here to argue with you. I'm here to charge the true culprit behind the serial disappearances case. And if my charges prove true, then Tartaglia here will be proven innocent by default, correct?
Oh, a young lady has charged in and offered to clear my name. How fascinating. Well, I'd gotten half bored to death by all these rules and procedures anyway, so I'll take you up on that offer. So, Your Honor, is there nothing else for me to do now?
You may take a seat for now in the audience, but that doesn't mean the suspicions against you have been lifted. Now then, Miss Navia, who is the person you would like to charge instead?
That person is... Marcel, the head of Confrérie of Cabrières. Huh? What Confrérie? Never heard of them in my life.
I've heard of them, but weren't they Spina di Rosula's sister organization?
Oh, is this going to be a friends to enemies type situation?
Please let me remind you, Miss Navia, that charging someone is an incredibly serious matter. Committing to the charge also means taking on the legal responsibilities associated with it. And if the charge fails, depending on the circumstances, you may also be charged with the crime of making a false accusation. Knowing this, do you...
Yes, I do.
In that case, I declare the charge to be valid. Miss Navia and attorneys, please take your places on the court. Members of the guards, please contact Mr. Marcel right away so that he may stand trial. Mr. Marcel, you will not require an attorney. Is that correct?
Ah,
Apologies. It all just happened so quickly. I still haven't figured out what's going on. I think an attorney won't be necessary. This is probably just a misunderstanding between me and Navia.
Very well. In that case, since both sides have now arrived, Miss Navia...
I would like to take everyone back to 3 years ago, to the case of Callus the Unfaithful. Only through elucidating what really happened in that case can we connect all the dots for the serial disappearances case.
Navia, do you really think that I was the one who killed your father? Come on, why would I do that? Callus was my benefactor, and remember, both you and I only ran to the scene when we heard the sound of a gun. If that's enough to make me a suspect, wouldn't that make everyone at that banquet a suspect as well?
I think there's no point in getting into the specifics. Exactly correct, Your Honor. I must refresh everyone's memory about that case before I can explain my charge and reasoning.
I see. In which case, I will recount the findings about that case as originally recorded by Maison Gardiennage. On the day of the murder, Spina di Rosula hosted a large banquet in a countryside estate owned by the Confrérie of Cabrières. During the banquet, all attending guests heard 2 gunshots from the courtyard. When the guests arrived at the scene, they found the primary suspect, Callus, holding a gun, while his acquaintance, Jacques, lay dead from a gunshot wound. The guards' investigation did not recover any other firearms from the scene. As a result, they concluded that the suspect's first shot must have missed, while the second must have taken Jacques' life. The suspect did not dispute this conclusion, and also declined to defend himself in court. Instead, he chose to prove his innocence through a duel. Callus was defeated by champion duelist Clarand in the ensuing duel, and soon succumbed to the injuries. These are the known facts about the case.
The one with the motive to kill was Jacques, not my father. And even so, Jacques still had no reason to pull the trigger. In truth, the third person shot Jacques first, and was shot in turn by my father when my father seized the gun from him. After that, the true culprit turned the third person into water, erasing all traces of him from the scene. Thank you for the summary, Your Honor. Of course, the guard's conclusion appeared quite sensible to us at the time. However, we should revisit the case now that we've gained new information about the abilities of water from the primordial sea. Testimony of the victim's family confirms that Jacques had thoughts of assassinating Callus when he set out for the banquet. However, in the end he reconsidered, and instead shared everything with Callus, hoping to seek the latter's protection. Unfortunately for Jacques, the true culprit had already considered this possibility, and had sent out another assassin. This assassin first shot Jacques, then turned to shoot Callus, only for Callus to wrestle the gun from him and kill him instead. Something's not... A pile of clothing was found at the scene. The guards once believed they were used by Jacques as a costume to disguise himself. But now, it is clear that the clothes were proof that there was a third person at the scene, and that they were turned into water after committing the murder. Since it was raining that day, the culprit was confident that they could use the rain to wash away all traces of their dissolved accomplice. Realizing this, the true culprit caused the hired assassin to dissolve into water, leading everyone to believe Callus was responsible for Jacques' murder. This is the true version of events.
that's what happened. Wait, you're telling me something as dangerous as water from the primordial sea has been used for all these years?
What a great theory. It also explains Callus's and Jacques' respective motives. I guess they didn't shoot each other after all.
Mr. Marcel, you are the one being charged with the crime. You should provide a rebuttal if you wish to prove your innocence.
Ah, but I think I agree with everything Navia just said. In fact, there was nothing in her speech that directly implicated me.
Then, may I ask some questions? 1. Do you have...
I'm afraid not. At least not at this very moment.
Boo! If you don't have any evidence, you should just go home.
I may not have the evidence with me, but I know where I could go to collect it. If we look up the deserted clothes against a record of people who went missing around the same time, we should be able to find a match. Considering the serial disappearances case, the guards probably kept careful records of all missing persons from around that time, regardless of age or gender.
That makes sense to me. Monsieur Neuvillette, I would consider this to be a reasonable investigative direction.
Why do I feel like Farina's acting a little differently today?
Maybe she's scared of embarrassing herself again?
Alternatively, she's become more diligent after charging an innocent citizen in the last trial.
My second question has to do with the ensuing duel. If the truth is indeed as you describe, then why didn't Mr. Callus explain himself in court? If he had testified that a person had been dissolved...
I've thought about this too, and the answer is actually pretty simple. He felt there were things that were more important to him. The dissolving power of water from the primordial sea is an important secret for the true culprit of the serial disappearances case. My father could have exposed it for all to see, but he chose to take it to the grave. At that time, Spina di Rosula was in dire straits, and his reputation had already been shattered. He had no guarantee that going forward with the truth would allow the culprit to be brought to justice. What was certain, however, was that it would paint a gigantic target on my back.
Boss once told me that Demoiselle had already been selected as the next target of the serial disappearances case.
What? If the secret had gotten out, the culprit would have fought an all-out war with Espina right there and then. I wouldn't have been the only one in danger. All of us would have stood to lose our lives. Of course, the guards might eventually figure out the truth of the matter and determine that we were in the right. But what good would that do? How can a hollow verdict protect anyone? Had this opera house ever given my father any kind of confidence in its brand of justice, Spina di Rosula would have had no reason to exist. But by staying silent, we retained the ability to deter our opponents and continue the stalemate. I was able to become Spina di Rosula's president, which made me harder to target, as well as giving me more time to grow and learn. And once I have figured out the truth and stepped up to the challenge, I will do what this opera house cannot, and restore my father's truth and honor back to him.
So, you mean to say, your father intended to die in the duelist's ring?
That's right.
Do you have any proof?
Of course. All you need is to ask his opponent, Clarand. I don't need your apology, your guilt, or your support from the shadows. You don't have to do anything for my sake. But since he entrusted his will to you, Clarand, you should tell us the truth about his sacrifice.
So, during the duel, did you believe that Callus was intending to die?
Yes, I did. As a champion duelist, I've fought many battles and taken a countless number of dishonored lives. In my line of work, I've seen all kinds of people give their all for the faintest hope to continue living. Some were determined, others passionate, and some even manic and twisted. Just one look and I can tell if a duelist is hoping to live or if they're looking to die. I hereby swear on my name and honor as a champion duelist that Mr. Callus never intended to leave the ring alive.
Since that's your testimony, I have no more questions.
I concur. However, Miss Navia, you still have not explained the link between your father's case and the serial disappearances case.
Right? What she said was fascinating, but kind of beside the point.
Wait, weren't they just talking about the serial?
Of course, Your Honor. The two cases are... In my father's case, the culprit intended to kill both Jacques and Callus. As a result, they planned to act after hearing 2 gunshots. And, at the end of Linny's trial, the culprit also only dissolved the victim in front of everyone because they realized they were at risk of being identified. The culprit could only time their actions so precisely if they were already at the scene. Coincidentally, Marcel attended both the banquet and the trial.
So that's why you suspected me. Even after hearing your reasoning, I still can't help but find it a little preposterous. I'm used to it, though. You've always been an impulsive and sentimental child, Navia. It's one of your most endearing traits.
No need to appeal to pathos.
I won't try to refute your points one by one, but even if everything you just said was true, can you prove that I was the only person present at both events? On top of that, does a person have to be physically present to control the timing? Can't someone remotely monitor the place?
Know what she can say to that.
I know that even with that, you might still think you can reduce the list of suspects with some further investigations, until I'm the only one left on the list. Alas, who won't feel at least a little hurt by an accusation of murder from a girl you see as your own daughter? But if I were to dismiss this completely, you'd also think I'm not being considerate of your feelings. Ah well, let Uncle Marcel teach you another lesson. Do you know what the biggest flaw in your reasoning is?
I suppose you're gonna tell me anyways.
It's timing again. I'm a businessman by trade. From that standpoint, there's no reason for me to kidnap young women. It's a high-risk action with nothing to gain. In addition, I left my home in Snezhnaya when I was young to come to Poisson and work in some trade. My business only thrived when I received Callus's patronage. But the disappearances began before I ever stepped foot in Fontaine.
I do apologize, demoiselle. This was my mistake.
No, it's not your fault. I'm sure he had come prepared.
Is there anything else you'd like to say? Would you? You can also take a look at my border entry records, or ask my friends and family when I left Snezhnaya for the first. Could those records and testimonies do something to appease the unspeakable
Seems like she got the wrong guy.
At this rate, Navia will be convicted for falsely accusing him.
I think you've done a superb job of dissecting your father's feelings as he neared the end of his life. But aren't you going against all of his wishes? He wished for you to become more rational, collected, and conscientious. Once you've learned to be more considerate of others' feelings, and to stop rushing headlong into things,
This isn't just about me, and it never has been. The biggest difference between me and the rest of the victims is that I still have the ability to search for the truth. While that same agency has long been taken from them, the people whose families were destroyed by synth abuse, the people who lost their loved ones to the serial disappearances, and the people who suffered tragic ends due to their sense of justice. Many people's images are flashing before my eyes. I'm sure some are coming to those of you in the audience as well. And whose image do you see, Marcel? Is it a man named Vacher? Oh, so you do know that name.
I was right.
I'm merely surprised you'd suddenly say the name of someone I've never even heard of.
I was waiting for you to say that.
resistance. Time to clean up. I'll catch.
Dodge this!
Boba, get them! Whoa! The floor is going up! Is it because of this mechanism in the middle? That guy really prepared a lot of stuff for this place. Paimon thinks we need to go up, but Paimon doesn't see a way. Let's take a look around. Maybe we'll find a hidden mechanism that'll show us the way up. The water level is rising. Now we can swim to the top. But this is still a ways away from where we need to go. Steady as stone. Nice and spicy.
Cool it!
No stone unturned.
Take this! Lightning slash!
I'll catch up.
Dodge this!
Steady as stone.
Freeze!
Now the path is clear. Let's go.
Hold on.
leave no stone unturned, as a dutiful maid would. Nice and spicy. I missed a spot.
Bellowing thunder! Yeah!
Cool it! Don't push him. This moment will be frozen in time.
Booba, get them! Someone needs assistance. Steady as stone.
Take this!
Nice and spicy. I must leave no stone unturned.
Dodge this!
Lightning flash!
After all that, we finally made it to the innermost sanctum. Though, as expected, the mastermind isn't here. That's right. Then let's hurry up and find some evidence so we can get back to the opera house. Let's see what's written here. Nothing escapes Detective Callus. Navia's father. Oh, this seems to be... This should prove the existence of the third person, right? We still have not... The old dog. He can act whenever he wants to make our lives miserable. I concur. Let's send someone to kill him. He won't declare war as long as we don't touch Navia. Oh, seems like we've got a bunch of correspondence between the higher-ups. What's all this? Pink accessories, a hair tie, a necklace, even a makeup box. Oh, Paimon sees it too, but why are all... Huh? You mean the girls from the serial disappearances? And then they were... And all the boxes of things. They snake... What's this over here? Looks like some kind of place for research. Experiment number 6. The experiment was a failure. No individual managed to resurface from the water from the primordial sea. Female specimens 22, 23, and 24 were dissolved. Sorry, traveler. Paimon will try her best. It's just that... How can someone write something that terrible in such a matter-of-fact tone? You read the rest. Paimon's too scared to keep going. So that's why he... Wait, did he really think he'd be able to find a way just by dissolving people over and over? That's just insane! Huh? Isn't that the name you heard by the fountain? Paimon thought he was an eyewitness in the serial disappearances case. Ah, you mean Vache is the one who did all of these... experiments? So that's it! Vache was no victim, but personally took his lover and... No, that's not it either! If that's the case, in any case... Whoa! There's so much synth here! And so many bottles of ingredients that probably just contain... Mixing in Whoa! There's even fruit-flavored synth? Yep, it's super obvious. Oh, look! There's an important-looking basin over here, and it's full of water! That means this is where they make all this... If you dilute it with normal, Paimon will take notes on this We've looked at almost everything here, and yeah, we haven't found anything that reveals his true identity. No wonder even Nervalette wasn't able to find anything. Whoever it is probably destroyed that way. Even if we bring all this back to the opera, we won't be able to identify the true culprit. Sure thing. You take that side, and Paimon will take this side. Ugh. Nothing at all. And Paimon can't even find snacks either. Whoa, really? Let Paimon see. Vinier. Isn't that Vache's lover's name? Then... you found her diary! Aw, it's just a normal diary chronicling their love story. So many! A whole page! The final name she decided on... Marcel! Wait, but Marcel's pretty old. Has this case been going on for so...
And whose image do you see, Marcel? Is it a man named Vache?
Huh.
Oh, so you do know that name.
I'm merely surprised you'd suddenly say the name of someone I've never even heard of.
I was waiting for you to say that.
Navia! We're back!
As expected of my partner. I just knew you'd return in the nick of time.
Just how often do you intend to flout the rules of this court?
It's all right, Monsieur Nervalette. Given their confidence, I expect they've found the crucial evidence.
But the truth of it, Marcel, is that you've always been Vache.
Huh?
We've investigated your lair and we already know everything. After your lover, Vinier, was dissolved, you kept abducting young women to experiment on the hopes of bringing her back to you. You even created Marcel as a new identity and destroyed all records of your past as Vache.
So that's it. Even the villains in opera performances rarely go that far. And with that, Marcel's motive has now been established.
This information regarding your past also dismantles your prior timing defense. Well, Marcel, do you know where you went wrong? You fixated your gaze on the lover that passed away, instead of paying attention to the living people around you. So, you never noticed how we changed, or how we grew as individuals.
You also never understood Boss's real expectations for his daughter.
Or our determination to see things through.
Your determination.
Mr. Marcel, please speak up now if you would like to defend yourself. Otherwise, the trial will move on to the next stage.
Do you really think I wanted to do any of this? Pay attention to you. What for? Have you ever paid attention to me? Ever empathized with my pain? Ever known how it feels to watch the love of your life dissolve right in front of your eyes? No one helped me. No one even believed me. All those decades ago, even the officers from the Maison Gardiennage were laughing at me. They said there's no way a human being can turn into water. So I must have gone mad from grief. Vinier's death was brushed away by all of you as if it didn't matter at all. Well, now you know, don't you? Ha! Well, it's too late now. All those who were dissolved are gone forever. You only have yourselves to blame. You set up this ornate opera house in pursuit of your so-called justice, your beloved drama, while turning a blind eye to the suffering of the people. Vinier is dead. We promised each other that we would always be together. Wherever she goes, I will follow. But I'm not from this blasted place, so I can't be dissolved, no matter what I do.
Hey, is that water from the primordial sea that he's drinking?
I can't dissolve! Can't dissolve! Can't dissolve! Do you all see? I can't go! I can't follow! So if I can't go where she is, what choice do I have but to try to bring her back? I did all of that, and in the end, that accursed Callus still got the better of me. I spent my entire life living on pins and needles, only to get stabbed by his idiot daughter at the very end.
The suspect is exhibiting signs of mental distress. Guards, please restrain him.
Don't touch me! Don't anybody come near me! I still need to save Vinier. I promise. We made a promise. Vinier. Vinier! Please, Vinier. Don't think badly of me. All I want to do is fulfill our promise.
At this point, the verdict of this trial is clear. With Mr. Marcel's conviction, the charges against Mr. Tartaglia no longer have any basis.
Fine by me. I was in a bad mood, but after a show like that, I'm actually feeling pretty good.
Traveler, please submit all the evidence you have collected to the guards, so that I might review and summarize the truth behind the serial disappearances case. The man now known as Marcel was originally named Vache and worked as an adventurer with his partner and lover Vinier. During an underwater expedition, Vinier accidentally came into contact with water from the primordial sea and was dissolved in front of Vache as a result. Vache learned of the primordial water's existence through the work of others and began to kidnap young women for research, with the goal of discovering a method to restore Vinier back to life. To cover his tracks, he invented the new alias of Marcel and began to operate a business in Poisson. During the course of his research, Vacher discovered that a diluted concoction of water from the primordial sea can induce feelings of euphoria, and began to manufacture and market synth. However, as he accumulated wealth to fund his continued research and expanded the scope, he came into conflict with Spina di Rosula. After exchanging blows with Spina di Rosula for many years, Vacher decided to assassinate their president Callus at a banquet. Although the assassination did not go as Vacher expected, he was able to turn Callus into the murder suspect by dissolving the assassin he sent to the scene. And just recently, Vacher attempted to frame Linny as the culprit of the serial disappearances case, using a similar method. However, his attempt to frame Linny failed, and the power of water from the primordial sea became public knowledge. This case also exposed enough of Vacher's machinations that he was eventually successfully charged in court. Thus concludes the enigmatic history of the serial disappearances case, with the truth revealed to all. The Oratrice will now deliver the final verdict regarding the charges against Mr. Vacher. According to the judgment of the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinale, Mr. Vacher is guilty.
Guards! Take Vacher away.
Good. It's what he deserves.
With that, the serial disappearances case is over now.
We really just witnessed history. Who would have thought the true culprit would be such a polite and well-spoken guy?
Yippee! We helped Navia bring the bad guy to justice! He's hurt so many innocent people and now he's finally getting what he deserves! Huh? Are you okay?
Demoiselle, you were absolutely brilliant.
The day our late boss had always hoped for has finally come. You can rest easy now, knowing justice has been served.
Yeah. It's finally over. It's all thanks to you guys. And my partner. See, Papa? Spina di Rosula's still doing well with me at the helm.
Well now, hasn't this been a most delicious piece of drama? The villain has been caught, justice has been served, past wrongs have been righted, and it's a big ol' happy ending. Since it's been such a great show, I'll just let the false accusations against me slide. Either way, I've still got some business to attend to. So, if you'll excuse me...
Please wait just one moment, Mr. Tartaglia.
What now? None of this has anything to do with me.
According to court protocol, since this trial was initiated due to a charge against you, a verdict must also be made regarding the initial charge before the trial can conclude.
Oh, come on. Is this really necessary? Haven't you already caught the real criminal? Isn't it time for side characters like me to exit stage left?
Please respect the laws of Fontaine. This has always been the rule.
All right, but this sure is a lot of hassle. All I need to do is stand over there, right? Let's just get this over.
Through evidence presented in the public trial that was just held, it has been established that Mr. Tartaglia has no direct connection to the serial disappearances. The guilty party has been identified, and thus it is logical to suppose Mr. Tartaglia is innocent of the charges. We now turn to the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinale to render the final verdict on the charges. According to the judgment of the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinale, Mr. Tartaglia is guilty.
What?
Hey! That's not funny! Didn't you just say I'm supposed to be innocent? What's with this verdict? Is your justice machine malfunctioning?
Huh? This has never happened before. The Oratrice actually returned a different verdict from the Chief Justice.
I mean, have you ever heard of an innocent Fatui Harbinger? Do you think the Oratrice might have just convicted him on general principle?
But weren't the charges about the serial disappearances case? No matter what else he's guilty of, it shouldn't affect the verdict in this case, right?
The judgment of the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinal is, by law, the final verdict of the court. We must accept the guilty verdict. Guards, please take the suspect into custody.
Okay, innocent and guilty on it. That's so why.
So this is how justice is done in Fontaine. What a joke. You've got your rules. Well, I've got mine too!
I don't blame you, bro. That's easy wrong. I got over John. So yeah.
He's activating his spell legacy!
Yeah. What a frick. Bro, stop that and dying. What you dealing with?
I am sorry. If you have been wronged, we will find the truth. But the rules of the court must be upheld.
Court? He didn't even transform, he just knocked him out. Before he transformed, but he still got cut. First said they would get scratched in the bottom. Wow. Then we gotta have this fool.
Apologies. This is also the first time I've encountered such a situation. However, according to the rules established at the conception of Fontaine's court system, the Oratrice's judgment is the final verdict of the court. All I do is follow court procedure. As for why the Oratrice arrived at the conclusion it did, you should probably ask someone more knowledgeable than me.
Why are you looking? I don't know what happened there either.
What does Lady Farina mean by that?
She says she has no idea either, but that's impossible. Didn't she create the Oratrice herself?
Yeah, so are the verdicts reliable or not? Can results like this really be called justice?
My dearest citizens, did you really think we'd allow an incorrect verdict to be handed out in this court? Did you really believe that the judgment could be mistaken? Don't tell me. You thought even I had been blindsided.
But the way she looked just now, it was pretty obvious she had no idea what was...
However, given the state and... of course, if you thought Child had nothing to do with the series, everything he's done, all shall be... Now, having said that, although
So she chose to make her escape after all, did she?
So you're saying we shouldn't put much stock into what she just said?
She probably just put on that performance to save face. As for the truth, it's unlikely that she actually has any idea. However, please be assured that I will continue to investigate this case in a personal capacity. Just as I promised, if the judgment has been incorrect, we will do our utmost to clear his name.
All right. Even though we feel pretty badly for him, we'll take your word for it for now. After all, he's done plenty of bad stuff, so he should have known he'd go to prison someday, right?
Hey, what are you doing? Quick, stop him!
Traveler! Hey! Traveler!
Torchies.
Marcel! What are you doing over here?
Stop resisting arrest! Cease, or we'll add another charge to the list!
No, wait! I just want to ask the Traveler something. I'm not looking to run away. Please, please, just let me ask this one small thing.
Go on.
Thank you. Thank you. I was being led away when I finally realized something. Where did you first hear the name Vache? I erased all records of that name. So, unless...
Are you still trying to prove your innocence? Give it up. You've already been convicted.
Really? You did? You're sure? You met her? But how could that be? How did you manage to do it? The Fountain of Lucine? Then she's been so close to me all along. And I just never... Please, please give me a chance to talk to her again. Just let the Traveler take me to the fountain to see her one last time. This is the last request I'll ever make in my life. You can do whatever you want to me afterwards. I don't care.
What? Give an inch and you want to take a mile? Do you think serial killers get to make requests like that?
Paimon agrees. Why should we give him...
This request, is it worth as much to you as your life?
Of course! Wait, no. It's worth even more than my life.
Humans. Will they betray the instinct to live just to satisfy spiritual needs? Very well. I will grant your request.
Your Honor.
I will go with him. You do not need to worry about any escape.
In that case, I shall...
Thank you.
that'll be it for now. I'll be back on later today. Oh, awesome day. Stay awesome. Let's go first. Go on the bullets and hands. Peace. You're beautiful. You're handsome. You're awesome. Stay focused. You can make anything happen. Anything is possible. Oh, remember to like and subscribe. To do this channel a lot. Thanks a lot.